Right, welcome back to Silly Talk Sports, first pod of the year for 2026. Absolutely fizzing. She's been a long off-season, about 5 or 6 weeks since we recorded the last podcast, but fair to say, I'm ready to rip and tear a massive sporting year ahead. I thought last year was one of the great years of sport, but this year, I reckon it has potential to be even better, of course. NRL, Super Rugby, all that usual stuff. We've got the All Blacks touring South Africa if they can find themselves a coach. Shit, that would be awkward if they don't have one. We've got the Rugby League World Cup, the Football World Cup, T20 Cricket World Cup. There's just so much stuff going on. Add to that your NBA, your UFC. It's a real sporting smorgasbord, and I can't wait to rip in. And off the back of that, because I truly do think it warrants it this year, I've decided we're going to roll out 2 podcasts a week this year. So we're going to have our usual Thursday morning preview podcast and then new pod Monday Arvo, hopefully out in time for your drive home. We're going to have a review podcast covering off all the latest happenings in the world of sport, just so that you can trust Silly to keep you up to date with everything that's going on. So excited about that. Of course, with that comes an increased workload as well. And off the back of that, I've decided to bring in a producer. You might have seen it advertised on my socials, the man who took the role, a young lad who's involved in the world of sport and sports media already. My great pleasure to introduce Henry Lee. Henry, how are you, lad?
Very good, Sally. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Nice studio.
Yeah, you like it?
I've seen it online, never been in it, but now, geez, it's the real deal. And yeah, it's obviously a huge year, so looking forward to it.
Mate, obviously, I've got to pay you, so I've got some sponsors I need to thank as well. TAB, they've been with us since day one and stoked to announce that they're going again in 2026. Of course, it's your home for sports punting here in New Zealand. And they were my first sponsor. So it's pretty unreal to still be running it back with them. Of course, they bring with us those bonus cash codes every week for podcast listeners, which will kick off from next week's pods. They're always good dishing up cheeky little promos, bonus bets and things like that. So once they come my way, I'll make sure I flick them on to you guys. But yeah, extremely grateful to be locked in with the TAB for another year. And in exciting news, shout out Michelob Ultra. They are in the building, of course. The official beer of the NBA, the Ryder Cup Golf, and this year's Football World Cup. Pretty crazy to say. I'm now partnering with them for this year as well. So Michelob Ultra will be the official beer of the Silly Talk Sports podcast. She's low carb, good on the rig, means you can punch plenty of them and you won't get bloated, things like that. It's a tasty drop. It's new here on the market, an American beer. You can grab it at all good liquor stores. And I'm so excited to see the opportunities that presents as well with Michelob Ultra. So grateful for them. We're going to be doing a Michelob moment of the week moving forward as well. We all love a beer with our sport, and that's the beer that we're going to be rocking this year. So get around Michelob Ultra, available at all good liquor stores, and keen to see what 2026 has involved with them. Let's kick things off. NRL, obviously, it's a sport that's dear to both of our hearts, and we had some Warriors injury updates yesterday, bro. Do you want to run us through those?
Yeah, a bit of an update yesterday from Andrew Webster, press conference. Getting me excited seeing those clips, talking about the lads, obviously, Camparera and all of these people. But the big news, obviously, Mitch Barnett and Luke Metcalf, is obviously some injury news around them. Mitch Barnett, round 1 to 4, in and around that range. And it's an interesting point that Andrew Webster makes, because 1 to 4 kind of means anything, really. And I don't know, I've seen pictures of him running around. I reckon chuck him in round 1, but obviously he probably won't do that. But yeah, what's your thoughts around that? How important is it that we get these guys back, but also not rush them back, because you see injuries happen being rushed back. So how important is that?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say those 2 injuries in particular had a massive effect on our season last year. Obviously, making finals week 1, hosting the Panthers. If you told us that in pre-season 2025, you'd take it every day of the week. But I think off the back of the start we had, those first kind of 15 to 16 rounds in particular, we were having hopes of going deep into finals. And it was those injuries that derailed that. I think it's massive to have both of them back and extremely important. Like Mitch Barnett, late before Christmas, he looked ready to go round 1, in my opinion. And obviously, the medical staff know a whole lot more, but he's full training. He's ripping into everything, and shit is he fired up too. Like, obviously last year and the year before, massive years for Mitch. And ever since he's arrived at the Warriors, he's been outstanding. But this year, it looks like that fire in his belly, that leadership, it's all gone up another level. And he just loves motivating these young boys, trying to get the best out of them. He understands that at this stage of his career, he's in a win-now premiership type of window. And having Mitch there is going to be massive for us. I reckon our forward pack is so underrated. The how do you rush them back, do you not rush them back type of thing. Like, we have depth in our pack this year, more so even than last year potentially. We have young lads that have got time under their belt now. Like, if Mitch isn't there, our middle rotation can be Jacko Ford, Marata Niokore, Tanner Stowers-Smith. Like, we have bodies ready to rip in. Dimitrik, of course, as well. So that's a 4-prop rotation without Barnett. So I don't want to rush him back. And saying that, if he's ready round one, they will be cautious with these guys, because that's the worst thing you can do, is bring someone back before they're ready, or listen to the player who says they're ready and then rush them back, which happens all the time, right? But as players, you just want to be out there. I reckon Mitch will be round 1 or round 2 max. And I reckon the Metcalf one, like he said, round 7-ish.
And he goes, that could be 10.
Yes.
So, and that's an interesting one, because it's like, especially with the ACLs, you see them rush back, go, yeah, sweet, I can do all these movements. But then when you get into contact, it's like they just do the other ACL.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to be careful with that, make sure they're fully conditioned. And he's running around now. He's in training now. Yeah. So let's hope round 7.
Yeah, I reckon he will obviously have a massive... He was the Dally M winner last year prior to injury. The thing, my whole theory around this year is that we will be better prepared for life without Metcalf this year than we were last year, because that happened in season. We basically had that week to adapt, to throw things in. We couldn't adjust our shapes or style. It was kind of adjusting week to week rather than having a whole preseason of preparation. Like, those halves combos now are going to have 2 or 3 months of training going into this. They're going to have preseason games just to hit the straps and get into their work straight away from round 1. So I don't think the effect of not having Metcalf will be as dramatic at the start of this year as it was at the back end of last year. But obviously, if you can get a guy back like Lukey Met, and if we could be 5-2, 4-3, and you welcome back Luke Metcalf, like, that would be a massive result for us. I can't wait to see him back out on the paddock. He is another guy that knows we're in a premiership window and he wants to get it done here, loves the club, just re-signed. We'll say too, and Tanner Boyd, and Tamaide Martin, and Lukey Hansen, who's more a 6, but still goes good, Jet Cleary, and then the new bloke, Jai Lynette. Like, talking to Chans in there, they were saying he's one of the big 3 standouts from preseason, to the point where they were like, who is this guy? Where's he been? Type of thing. And he's coming back from an ACL as well, but I think people are going to see in preseason that perhaps he was a pretty underrating signing as well. So excited for both of them, but don't rush them when they're ready. I do think Barney will be round 1, eh?
It's such an important one, because you can't, if you rush them back and it goes wrong, it basically derails your season. Let's say both of them do it again or something like that, or another injury that puts them back 12 weeks. It's one that you're going to regret. So you got to get that right. And obviously Rocco Berry as well, and Taine Tuaupiki as well. What are you thinking around them? They're obviously going to miss the start of the year. It's another big losses, but I don't know. I feel like like you said, we're better placed.
Yeah, we are. For Rocco, like, gutted for him personally. Heck of a player, old bootlace Berry. I call him that because he never misses a tackle around the ankles.
Chases hard.
He chases hard. He's an effort player. And on our edges, where at time we can look weak there defensively, I think his ability to defend and lock down his edge is massive. Obviously had shoulder surgery. Didn't go as planned, so he's had a second one, and I think he could be out for a little while. But in saying that, we have Ali Leatoa there where we can slot in. We also, now that Khan Pereira is here, could potentially move Rog into centre, chuck AKP on a wing, or you chuck Lecker in there, which we saw in that game against the Panthers. He went straight in there and he went well on that edge. Last name Tavalu now as well, not Halasima. So something interesting to note there for Warriors fans. If you hear Tavalu coming through your commentary sets, then that's Lecker. That's not a new bloke. But yeah, we do have options in the centres. For me, the preferred one would probably be to slot Ali straight back in there. I think when healthy, fit, available, he is one of the great young strike centres in our game. But we have options there that we can use, and that whole AKP dynamic is going to be an interesting one too. So gutted for Rocco, but we have depth there, and gutted for Taine too. I think a lot of fans were hoping that maybe Chance could push to centre, Taine to the back. Like, I saw Taine in the moon boot before Christmas at training. So this has obviously happened for a while now. He's back doing full training now, so he could be closer than we think, but yeah, I was excited for a big season for him, off contract too, so I'm sure a few clubs will be sniffing around come November 1. But yeah, hopefully both of those guys can make a recovery. I just think this year's roster, man, like we are so deep, deeper than we've been in a very long time across all positions, second row, all of it. So like if Leka goes to centre, second row, you can chuck in a Murata, you can chuck in a Laban, you can chuck in a Morgan Gannon, another who, man, I've heard guys saying he's been up there as the best in preseason too, just snapping blokes. So I think Warriors fans are going to be pleasantly surprised about him too. So yeah, what I will say, my DMs lit up once that press conference came out. People panicking. Don't worry, we have depth. We have a bloody good roster, certainly top 4. And I will say, like between the men's side and the women's side, NRLW this year, one of them's going to win the comp. And it's a race to see which one does it.
It's not a bad guess. And Andrew Webster did talk about how, not yesterday, but in previous weeks, he talked about how they are better placed now with the depth that they've got, because the depth is actually battle hardened. They've played. They're ready to go. So hopefully we will see in the opening weeks that depth is used well, and hopefully get off to a good start, so then these boys can come back and sort of up the standards as well. So yeah, it'll be an interesting times. But if we move on to the Perth Bears, give us what's happening over there. I mean, geez, Josh Curran, Nick Meaney, Tyron Wishart, there's names there, but I mean, there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, there is still a long way to go. And to be honest, before those 3 were announced, I was pretty worried for them, eh? Like, I thought Liam Henry was a great get from the Panthers. And Toby Sexton, not bad. As a 7, he's an organiser. He'll get a job done. Sean Russell, a pretty decent grab too. But the Josh Curran one for me, like, that's a big signing. And I was a little surprised. The rumours were the Dogs shopped him this year, so they were willing to let him go early. I thought he was exceptional for them last year, eh? Like, fantasy-wise, he was one of my set and forgets. Through the middle, fast footwork, undersized for a middle forward, but he was giving them great minutes. Prop, second row, lock. He's so versatile, so a great pickup for them. And he's one of those guys that's going to empty the tank every time and punch way above his weight. Friend of the show too, bloody good lad. So I think he'll enjoy Perth, because he's going to take a bit of a leadership role amongst this team. Great get, as is Tyron Wishart. Like, that is one that the Storm would be gutted to lose, and they've lost a fair few bodies lately. I'm sure we'll talk about that shortly, but Wishart, a great grab. I see him as a 6. There was chat he'd signed as a 9. That to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think Wishart and Sexton as a halves combo isn't too bad. And then they grabbed Nick Meaney too, and chat that he's going to play fullback. To me, he's a centre.
He's a centre, yeah.
He's a solid player, right? But he's not going to light you up. And fullback these days has to be someone, or when you look at the best teams, your Keanu Keeney's, your Reece Walsh's, they're guys that are a little bit more electric. So Perth Bears still with some work to do, but starting to shape up. I think first year, 2027, going to be a struggle. But if they can avoid the spoon, that's probably a win. And then you look to build from there once some of these big-name players come off contract.
I mean, Tyron Wishart's a game changer. Like, he comes into the Storm lineup, and when he does, he just changes the game. Lights up a game with 20 minutes to go, wherever he's chucked in, and can play multiple positions. So it is a really good signing. And if he can take that jump to actually running the team, running the cutter and dominating games, then it's a very good signing. But obviously, still a long way to go, because you can't win a comp with 3 players like that.
No.
So
Can't.
there's still a long way to go, but we'll move on to the Dragons. Keon Kolomatangi, big signing.
Big signing, though, and a lot of the chat out there was an overpay, and I get it. Like, it's almost $5 million for 5 years, and if this was to the Broncos, to the Panthers, to the Storm, then yeah, it is an overpay. But for a club like the Dragons, and respectfully, of course, like, they need to pay overs to get big-name players, and I think the impact that Keon is going to have on this team, and that young 4-pack in particular, like, they've got some good young players coming through, man. The Couchman brothers, Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart, Jacob Halangahu, they're all guns, young junior origin players coming through that 4-pack. When you chuck in an enforcer like Keon, that's a massive get for them. And realistically, like, close to $1 million a year, that's what they have to pay. I rate that they flew him out there in a helicopter. Really nice touch. No doubt they wined and dined him, and clearly it paid off. And to me, it also signals that, man, the Bunnies, this has to be their year, I reckon. Cody Walker, 36, almost 37.
Cameron Murray will be no younger really than that.
Cam Murray, then you got guys like Keon moving on. So, yeah, it also adds some urgency to the Bunnies here, which is an interesting one as well.
And not only that, is that they had such a down year last year on just so many injuries and so many players out for so many games. So I mean, Keon leaves a hole, but I feel like they've got the players to fix that hole. They just kind of actually need to get them fit and rearing to go, which in preseason we've seen videos of David Fafita. I know you can't get too excited with social media videos in preseason, but I mean, he looks fit and strong, ready to go.
Shit, yeah. I think he was on a beach wrestling Latrell with all the boys crowded round. Like, that's the shit you love to see. I do see he's picked up a rib injury. Latrell's picked up a calf.
1 week or something like that.
Yeah, apparently they're going to be good to go. But that Bunny's injury curse, man, it sends people into a frenzy whenever you see anything like that. But that left edge potentially, like they've said, Trell's going to play centre. He'll have David Fafita on that side with Cody Walker. Like, that just screams that now is their time. And, yeah, bloody stacked team. Wayne Bennett at the helm. Cam Murray.
They've got what it takes. They just need to kind of stay fit.
Yeah, they just need to have lads available and ready to go, because on paper they're a top 4 team, but when shit goes wrong for them, we saw it last year, like they were scrapping to avoid the spoon. So a massive year for the Bunnies, and losing Keon only makes it more important.
What about the Parramatta Eels? And it's been an absolute debacle over the last couple of months, if you can even call it a debacle. Zach Lomax, I mean, what even is happening? What is your opinion on it? How do you feel like that actually affects the Eels? Because obviously Mitch Moses didn't play that many games last year. So how do you see that situation playing out?
I'm pretty high on Para this year, mainly because of the Jonah Pezzett grab. But at the same time, if they can't get someone decent for a Zach Lomax, then it does hurt them. And that's the whole thing for me. Like, yeah, there's different ways to look at this one. The most interesting thing is around the NRL coming out saying there's a 10-year ban for guys that go to R360. Then Lomax, obviously R360 doesn't exist as it stands. Lomax leaves. He comes straight back. He then wants to play NRL again, and the Melbourne Storm are trying to tell Parramatta that they should take the $200,000 on offer. Like, to me, that is a crazy double stance from the NRL. I get that they want him in the game. He's one of the biggest superstars. People want to watch Zach Lomax play, but I don't think you can have that much double standards. And I reckon, well done to Para. Like, they want a player in return. Melbourne have offered them a payment that they can't use towards their salary cap, so it's literally useless for them. And they've come out and said who they want. You know, they want a Stefano, they want a Coates, they want a Jack Howarth, because they're giving up an Origin and Kangaroos player and a superstar. And I think it's fair enough to them. So I think they go to court second week of Feb or something like that.
Keep you updated.
Yeah, and I'm all for that, eh? Like, I'm not a huge Para fan, but good on them for standing up. And it's an interesting dynamic too. Like, Riles, the head coach, assistant at Melbourne, you best believe Craig Bellamy and him have spoken about it. It's so weird that it's those two clubs too. They play round one, they play again in Magic Round. Like, those games just got so much more spicy.
Yeah, they did. And it's just a crazy situation from the NRL. And I agree with you on what you said about it's the double stance. It's just, you got to either stamp it out or not. Like, you can't stamp it out and then not stamp it out and then move into the middle. Like, that's kind of the situation we're in. So interesting times. And like you said, those fixtures are very, very spicy.
It also, to me, signals for the first time in ages a little bit of desperation from the Storm. Like, they've lost Ali Katoa, they've lost Pappenhausen, they lost Nelson, which to a lesser extent hurts them a little bit too. But when you run your eye through that team now, it's not as terrifying. They need some strike in that back line, and I think they know that they need a player like Zach Lomax. And like, they've had a luxury in the past. Like, Fa'alongaw's a heck of a player. They've still got a gun spine. They've got some great players in there. But perhaps for the first time, we're seeing Melbourne try and force their hand. And I think that they've made a few calls to the NRL and just been like, we need Lomax.
Yeah, and I feel like Craig Bellamy, like you said, has sort of realised that if he really wants to win the title, he's actually going to have to go out and do something.
Yeah,
like,
well, he's on a ticking clock as well, right?
It's not like their squad's rubbish or anything like that. It's just he probably feels like to win the title, they've actually got to upgrade in these couple of positions. So it'll be an interesting situation. We'll follow that. But also Tom Flegler cleared to return for the Dolphins. That's a big one. And the Dolphins are an exciting team this year.
Oh, another team on paper, if healthy, top 4. Like, you run through their best 17 predicted. There's guys like Felice Kafusi that could well miss out on the team. And again, rep-level player. Massive for Flegler to be back. Last played an NRL game, round 5, 2024, goes out with a nerve in his shoulder. you'd assume that that's weeks or months, right? Like, I'm no medical professional, far from it, but I thought a cheeky little trip to Cortisone City, get the needle in there, and he'd be straight back out there. And I heard him talk about it. He said it was terrifying, the fact that he didn't know, like, if you do an ACL or have a shoulder reco, you know you're 6 months, you know you're 9 months. This is really dragged out for him. So I'm stoked to see him back. Like, Queensland rep level player, played for the Kangaroos, going to be massive for them. And I think his biggest impact too, like, again, they got a great pack, some young lads in there too, but I think defensively has been their biggest downfall. Last year scored the most points in the competition, but they leaked them too. He is a bloke, never ran at a tackle efficiency less than 93% across his years in the NRL, made 98 tackles in his last year and missed one. That's a guy that's going to tie down the middle, and I think his leadership is going to be massive for them too. So yeah, Dolphins, another team, like, look out. If they can stay healthy, Isaiah Katoa, another year in the saddle. They've got the hammer. Selwyn Cobbo,
Trey Fuller?
recruit.
What about Trey Fuller? Obviously, he can play fullback and they can move the hammer into centres. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of that, but, I mean, is it a sort of Fa'alongo type move where if you get that player and then you can kind of make do? Like, what do you think?
He could be a 14 too.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys, if I'm the Perth Bears, he's off contract at the end of this year, and I'm wanting a fullback, I'm wanting a Trey Fuller, I'm wanting, I hate to say it, a Taine Tuaupiki, but hopefully he doesn't leave the Warriors. I'm wanting like a Connor Tracy, one of those type of guys, and I think Trey Fuller, yes, he's a little bit older, but he has almost the highest upside in terms of ready to go right now. Every time he plays, he lights it up, Some of those tries he scored last year prior to injury, insane. And you could easily move the hammer to the centres. He does it for Queensland. He does it at international level. So they're another team, man. Like, that forward pack, Max Plath, Tom Gilbert back too. They're scary if you catch them on the right day.
Some workhorses, to be honest. And I think the biggest thing with Flegler as well is that he'll bring that aggressor type Nelson, like, no one likes me, like, aggressive, leave a shoulder in, like, hit someone on the ground, like, that sort of thing. And that kind of pisses people off. And I feel like that's what they need, because they let in too many points. Like you said, you knew it was going to be a 44-42 on a Sunday afternoon. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But where's your fizz levels at? Obviously, a couple of weeks left to go before the season. Warming into it, where are you at? Obviously, still got some preseason games to go through, but where are you at?
I feel so excited now. Like, I look forward to February because footy's back. Next weekend, we get those Vegas teams in preseason, which, look, normally if you dished up those two games, I wouldn't be too bothered, but because it's the first two up, I'm going to be watching them both extremely closely. And then the weekend after, Valentine's weekend, that's when it all goes down. Wires back in action in Napier. We get the All-Stars games. Like, that's where it really kicks off for me. But I can't wait, I swore I'd never go back to Vegas after Warriors in Vegas last year because I absolutely sent it. But now I'm starting to get FOMO that I'm not going. And I think that's a great sign that footy's back. I feel like this year is going to be even closer than last year. And I thought last year's was the closest comp ever. There's 12, 13 teams you could convince me make the 8, and you can make good cases for them. Like, who's to even say you couldn't chuck the Tigers in there with the roster that they've got if they're fit and healthy? So I reckon the margins in these games are going to be tight, and I reckon the Warriors are going to go fucking good as well.
Yep, should do. Let's move on,
Yep, we've got some Super Rugby chat and just rugby chat in general. Obviously, All Blacks coaching situation, and I know you're involved with this. Obviously, you got another gig at Rugby Pass, so you're extremely knowledgeable in the rugby world. But to me, man, I think Razor did have to go. I think great guy, great coach, maybe wrong time and place, wrong group, and just the way he took over, it obviously didn't have the effect that we were hoping for. I'd pay big money to see a live Ian Foster cam. I think that would be extremely good content. Big Brother styles, just mic him up in his house and we could get his opinions. But I do feel a little sorry for Razor. I do like the decision, but at the same time, like, he's a bloke that lost his job and loved the jersey. So I just think it had to be done, the state that the locker room was in. Once you lose the locker room and you lose the support of other staff in that, then you've kind of got to go. The interesting thing for me is I think the head coaching job's already sorted. I think Jamie Joseph has got it. I'm sure you agree with that statement. It's more around the assistants. The criteria they've come up with leads me to suggest that Dave Rennie is one of those assistants, and we've thought that for a while too. I just find the hard case thing is, like, Tony Brown, Vern Cotter, all these guys have commitments elsewhere that they're willing to honour. And maybe it's a sign of the times too, but I feel like coaches in the past would have just dropped gigs in order to be involved in this All Blacks group. I think some of these guys are looking around being like, maybe it's not the 100% gig you want at the moment, because they're looking for a short-term hit job, right? Rugby World Cup next year, so it could go great, you could be a hero, or it could just stay as it is and things don't work out. A lot of these coaches want to be involved right from the start of the 4-year cycle, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like we see Vern Cotter heading to the Reds, and he said he would have been keen in the AB's role, but he'd already made his commitment, man of his word. Joe Schmidt, another man of their word type of operator. It's just all very un-All Black like, but I'll be keen to hear your thoughts on it.
Oh, it's a shambles, really, from the first whistle, really, a couple of weeks ago when we started to hear the rumours about Razor going. I mean, I agree with you completely. I think there's nothing against Razor. There's nothing against how much he loved the jersey and what he brought to this environment, but man, I feel like the right decision was made. They did have to make it, and if you're gonna make it, you got to make it 2 years out from the World Cup.
Yeah,
you can't make it 6 months later. You
100%.
can't make it a year out. Rassie Erasmus won a World Cup 18 months out from the World Cup when
go.
he was applied for.
We need Rassie, is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. That would be probably the worst nightmare. But I think it was the right move, and obviously feel bad for Razor. There's more to it now. The head coaching experience, international experience, is kind of them saying that they got it wrong.
Yeah.
In one way, and then the second bit of it is them going, shit, well, there's a huge tour. They're playing 14 tests in 18 games or whatever it is.
Yeah.
4 tests in South Africa plus the 4 games in South Africa against the team. So it's a huge ask, and it's like you said, there's not many worse jobs you want to take right now.
No.
It is just not that nice of a job. There's no CEO, there's no high performance director, there's no the assistant coaches that maybe a lot of the players said that they don't really like or gave a bad review for are still there, and you've got to deal with that too.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on. I agree. I think it's Jamie Joseph and Dave Rennie or whichever one you want to do, but it's a shit show, really.
I see a lot of people as well, like, criticising the fact that they want a New Zealander as the head coach. I'm all for that. I think we have the coaching talent to do it, and I also think, like, if you were to bring in someone from Ireland, someone from overseas, the way the players respond and interact and the way they deliver a message is completely different to how we do it as Kiwis, right? Like, I just don't think it would hit. And right now, with this short of a window, next year's World Cup, you need someone that the players like, they respect, and that they're going to get the best out of them, but at the same time, not changing too much, making changes and tweaks and identifying new players that could come in the system, maybe new captaincy, things like that. But that'll go a long way to fixing things straight away. Like, I don't think we need a complete overhaul. We just need tweaks, fine-tune, getting everyone back happy and ready to go again.
Yeah, Jamie Joseph's the candidate, really. He's the All Blacks 15 coach. They appointed him that. He's in New Zealand Rugby. He's contracted with New Zealand Rugby.
Yeah.
There's all of that. But I just can't believe they didn't have this conversation when they decided they were sacking Razor. Like, yes, but you've got to go through a process, but if you know that you're going to then go to international head coaching experience only, and then therefore there's only 3 candidates, you then know that Vern Cotter's going to the Reds. You then know that it's just Jamie Joseph or Dave Rennie, and you've left it till now. Super Rugby's 2 weeks away. Yeah. It's just a shocking situation. Like, if you're going to make that move, if you know it's Jamie Joseph, make the move and make it ASAP so he can get started. And he's the right man. Whether his assistants are whoever from overseas or whatever, he's the right man.
I reckon they knew, and they were just seeing who else threw their hat in the ring so they could offer them, like, I think they were hoping like a Clayton McMillan or a Leon or someone like that would also be keen. So you could be like, do you want to be an assistant? And then you can take over long term, because, I think Jamie Joseph is 100% the guy.
Yep, there's a lot going on in that space, and I'm sure that we could probably do a podcast about that
absolutely.
by itself. But then we'll move on to some Super Rugby news. There's some games Friday afternoon, some Super Rugby pre-season games. Obviously, the Blues taking on the Hurricanes. Let's start with the big news this morning, though. Cameron Roigard. Big news, signing 4 more years with New Zealand Rugby and the Hurricanes. Thoughts on Roigard? Obviously, just a huge player for the All Blacks at the moment.
Massive, and I think he's the best 9 in the world, and that's saying a lot because there are some quality 9s going around 100%, but I just think his game style and the impact he has on a match, All Blacks without him compared to All Blacks with him, or any team really, there's a massive difference. I will say I thought the Canes overhyped this a bit with that video about the announcement coming soon. Like, people were sending me messages. It's
It's
Bodie.
Bowden.
Yeah, it's Bodie. Someone was sold that it was like a Ben Lamb or someone like that because the commentary they used was from, it could have been taken in a few ways. Some people were trying to say via Fafita, which you could tell from the video. It wasn't via Fafita. But in saying that, I was incredibly excited that Roigard has been locked in. This chat around where does Ruben Love play? Like, that's exciting to me. If that's the 9, 10, 12 combo is Roigard, Love, and Barrett moving forward down there, then they're going to have a shit ton of success. And I think Roigard in the 9 jersey is just massive to lock in. I will say, too, Sky Stadium been renamed.
Now my name.
Now it's Henry Stadium. Yeah. Well, there you go. So you can claim part ownership.
I'm grateful to announce that I'm part owner.
Shit, I must be paying you more than I realise. I will also claim part ownership because Henry is the app I use for my contracting. They take a 1% fee of all my invoices, so I'd like to think that I potentially own, like...
We might have a box down there.
Fuck, we'll inquire.
Yeah.
Not a big Canes man, but willing to be for a free corporate box, 100%. But yeah, massive for Roigard, massive for the Canes, massive for New Zealand rugby, good for counties too. He won't play a lot of NPC, but it's still cool to be able to claim a player like that. And yeah, to think that he's going to be our 9 for a very long time is exciting.
He's one of the best in the business, and he will continue to rise. I think he needs that partnership. He needs to get the partnership with the All Blacks 10 kind of sorted. They need to get that sorted and ready, because that could be 5 to 10 years. Like, it could, if it's Ruben Love, if it's Damian McKenzie, whatever it is, they need to get that sorted so that they can get those combinations working, because, geez, he's a good footballer, Cam Roigard, and there's a lot going on there. And then Bowden, Barrett, and Patrick Tuaupiki obviously going to miss the first couple of games. Thoughts on that? How big is that? And obviously Vern Cotter leaving, Hoskins Sotutu leaving. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of players going in and out.
Right. You're a Blues fan, right?
I am.
I am very uncertain. You could convince me they are going to be great this year. You could also convince me that they're going to be middle of the pack. I don't think they'll ever be down the bottom. They've got way too much talent in that roster, but at the same time, losing Rocco is massive for them, losing Mark Talia. Now starting the year without Bodie Barrett up against the Chiefs at home first game, a Chiefs side which looks stacked. Like, yeah, it's interesting. And I want to know who told Bodie he has to take 3 weeks off for All Blacks rest. There's no All Black coach, so...
Yeah, that's a little bit of an odd one, isn't it?
Has Jamie Joe rung him and said, look, mate, I've got the job and you're having the first 3 weeks off. Like, it's just disappointing as a fan, right? You're so excited for that first game. It's at Eden Park, few beers at full time, then you crawl over the road and you watch 2 of the best teams in the comp, and Bodie's not going to be there. Like, Stephen Perifetta, we assume, back from injury, ready to rip. They got Rico Simpson, so they got Zahn Sullivan. They've got options there, but I think for the Blues this year, those games they can win, especially against New Zealand sides, are going to prove incredibly important for them. And first couple rounds, that's where you can beat some of these big dogs and knock them off just by being more organised. So, yeah, big loss. Paddy, I think last year his impact on the black jersey was phenomenal whenever he was around. Is he tough? That shoulder looked fucking brutal.
What about his head thing?
Oh, that head thing, mate. I retired for way less than that. I would have been long gone. And just the leadership, the physicality he brings to a forward pack that's built around being physical under Stern Vern, like, they are really going to miss him too. So a couple big blows for the Blues early, which could see them miss semis.
Like, the first couple of games are huge. They didn't start very well last year at all. And, I mean, it's a bit of the last dance almost. I mean, for the likes of Hoskins Sotutu, who's got definitely a point to prove before he goes overseas. Vern Cotter now wants to win a title on his way out. There's players, I mean, Bowden Barrett's not going to be here forever. Players like Kurt Eklund, things like that.
Theory, Leon McDonald comes back. He's coaching in Japan this year, right? But he's only signed till the end of the 2026 season, which ends in May. I reckon Vern would have possibly stayed, but they've been like, Leon's keen, and it's kind of just all aligned perfectly, because the whole Reds move was kind of weird as well. So I think it's like a best of both worlds. Leon keen to get back into coaching. That's just my tinfoil hat, and I'm almost hoping that it's the way it is.
I don't mind it. I've also heard that Dave Rennie, like, the Blues almost mucked up getting Dave Rennie a couple of years ago, or maybe 4 or 5 before the last coach was appointed. So that could be an option if Dave Rennie doesn't get the All Blacks job or assistant job. But we're just throwing names around. It'll be interesting to see. There's obviously a lot going out, a lot of other things going on. Marky Mark heading to Japan. Is he chasing the money? Like, he could have just gone to Super Rugby and played. Like,
I think so. I was excited when I heard he was going back to rugby because I was like, sweet, I'm going to watch the Tars, him, Suaalii. They got Angus Crichton there now, which we'll touch on shortly. But I was like, shit, the Tars are going to be cool to watch. But he goes across to Japan, and in a way, it's Australian rugby's rule of picking overseas players coming back to bite them a little bit in terms of they don't get bums on seats for the Tars, but they get them for the Wallabies. 2 years, 2 mil. Tough to say no to, and I know a lot of Roosters fans think that he's going to go back there. I wouldn't be surprised if he just continues this world tour of playing in Japan, maybe R360's up and running there, France, like whoever's got the biggest money, because there's no denying he's a freak, and it's a massive addition to the Wallabies for the World Cup for sure, but he's going to carve Japan, man. They're going to struggle with his last name. Commentators,
it's a nightmare.
How do you say Ngawanganetawasi?
I'm just going to stick with
Japanese, like... Holy shit, they struggle with Sean Stevenson, let alone that. So, yeah, massive get for the Wallabies World Cup campaign. They're outside backs. We may as well talk about Crichton now going there because that's a huge pickup too. They've said he signed as a 12. He played Aussie schoolboys as a 12. He was bloody sharp there.
Good footballer.
Yeah, big body too. I reckon he could be a nice little hybrid off the bench because when you look at their back line, like Len Ikitau for me was arguably one of the best 12s last year.
He won their Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think Suaalii is probably still a winger. But then you look at their wingers. They got Marky Mark, they got Jorgensen, they got a back three that's got Tom Wright in there as well.
The Wizard,
who's
Harry
one
Potter.
of my favourite players to watch. Yeah, Harry Potter in there too. So I don't think Crichton would be a 13. So it's like, could you use him off the bench as like a Peter Steph to Toit type hybrid role there? He's big enough to bang some bodies. He would have to learn the technical aspects real quick. Line out, set piece, ruck time, which would make it harder. But for me, Ikitau's a 12, not a 13. And then you're moving your best back.
Yeah, he's got to have a very, very good season to bump Ikitau out of the lineup. But I think, imagine a Roosters backline in the Wallabies.
Yeah.
First game of the World Cup against the All Blacks in Perth. And Marky Mark, Suaalii, and Angus Crichton are lining up against the All Blacks backline.
It is exciting though, right? Like players, signings like this, and I see people as well, like there's always negative people online, they kind of poo-poo it, but it gets us talking. Like here we are in New Zealand, all this stuff going on with the All Blacks.
In January.
And we're looking across almost jealous at the Wallabies being like, look, they're getting these NRL guys. So exciting times. I'm keen to see how Crichton goes. He's got a big call at the end of this year. Kevy Walters has said he wants him for the Rugby League World Cup. He can go early and join the Aussies on their Northern tour. Like, what do? Do you try go back-to-back World Cups? Try win the Rugby League one, then chase the Rugby one next year? Or do you get your feet under the desk a little earlier and learn the game?
It was a bit of a different scenario, but Carter Gordon also left the Titans not early, obviously didn't have any sort of game time and had no right to be even there at the end of the season. But he left early, went on the Northern Tour, got a couple of games under his belt, and then all of a sudden it's a different campaign this year because he's already got used to it, played an international test match and kind of worked his way into it. So it'll be interesting to see how, I still think he plays for the Rugby League World Cup. He's not going to say no to that, I don't think.
Yeah, it'll be hard to.
I'd go with that, but it is interesting. We'll see how the preseason games go on Friday. I want you to give me one player to watch from every New Zealand team. We'll start with the Crusaders.
Start with the Crusaders.
Give us one player that you
Ollie
like to watch.
Mathis for me. Yep. Like he's in the wider squad, but I think he's good enough to be in their squad. I just don't think they had enough contract positions available for him. Yeah, saving money, right? And he's a player that outstanding NPC level, great at age group representative level, found himself in this weird position now that he's a flanker winger. Quite the hybrid. I get that they both attack on the edges, but he's almost looked better on the wing. Like he is rapid with a skill set.
My theory is that he might be the best All Blacks hybrid person going forward. For a 6-2 split, imagine him at 21. He can play loose forward, he can play on the wing. Geez, either wing probably.
Yeah.
He's the All Blacks coach's dream really in the next couple of years.
There we go. And then you chuck a dream player like that in the Crusaders situation and it can only get better. So really keen to see how he goes this year. If he can get a run in the actual season, then that'll be interesting. But preseason is where he's going to look to push his point. And speaking to old Jimmy Ma, he was saying that he's looking bloody sharp. So, yeah, not often I get excited about Crusaders players. You could go a Leicester or someone like that, obviously, but we're trying to go a bit more niche here. And I think Ollie Mathis will be a bloody good watch.
Give us the Highlanders. They might not have a coach. come round one.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Well, they have a coach, but I'm not sure who it's going to be.
Imagine David Kidwell, head coach of the Landers.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting. I had this conversation this morning with someone. David Kidwell could be the All Blacks defence coach if Jamie Joseph is. Yeah. It could go straight there. Clark Dermody's the assistant coach at the Highlanders, so he's probably going to take over if that happens. But yeah, who are you thinking for the Landers?
Stacked outside backs. One of the most exciting backlines in the comp for me. Young too, like Caleb Tangito, Jonah Nariki. They've got players for days. Tito Harris, I think, is down there as well. Jacob Ratamatavuki Nepkins. But that's Stanley Solomon, the young lad. NZ20s 2 years in a row, part of the leadership group last year, ripped up for the Wellington Lions. Crazy feet, only small, 5'9", 80 kilos, so a shorter frame typically compared to a lot of the outside backs going around at the moment, but he is lightning, knows his way to the try line, and if he can push his way into that Landers team, which is going to be bloody hard, outside's unreal. I think Tangito's going to be an All Black at the end of the year for sure, but yeah, he's a pre-season watch, 100%. They're playing the Crusaders in Timaru, right? 4,000 people.
Sold out.
That's what you love, man. Yeah. That's footy. That is pre-season footy. Take it to the grassroots. Let the people get amongst it.
Couple of big bots.
Well, imagine living in Timaru and you're like, fuck yeah, the footy's on this weekend. It'll be the talk of the town, 100%. So yeah, Stanley Solomon for me. I think he might struggle for minutes in the regular season, but yeah, if he gets a crack, keep an eye on him.
There will be more talk with us come pre-season and close to the season about who may win this competition, but let's go with the Hurricanes because their squad and their coaching staff and everything about them in Wellington, I'm really hyped about. So give us your Canes player and why.
I like the look of this Warner Durns, and he's someone that we've seen a lot of already. If you watch international footy, if you've seen Japan play, he's already had, 20-plus tests for them. He's played 60-plus games for the back-to-back Japanese champs over there, Toshiba. He is a bloody good footballer. Originally born in Wellington, moved over there to give pro footy a crack. He's over 2 meters tall. He's over 120 kilos. And to me, like the Landers, they have great loosies. They have a good front row, good back line. It's kind of been in that locking department. Like Isaiah Walker-Leawere has been a good footballer, but he's needed a running mate and someone potentially a bit sharper than that too. And I think Warner Durns has the potential to do that. It's a 1-year sabbatical. We don't often see players come this way, right? Like he obviously wants to do it because he wants to play for his hometown, but normally it's Kiwis going over to Japan for the sabbatical. But I reckon his physicality, his skill set's going to suit Super Rugby so much, and I reckon he's going to be a bloody good asset.
Like you said, their lock's been the biggest issue for them in the last couple of years, and he's an international captain.
Yeah,
like he's no slouch. He's played enough test matches. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I think people also forget that Japan play a lot of, like the Japan international team play a lot of high quality opponents. They play the likes of Australia. We play them every so often. They play the islands. So it's an interesting. He's a good footballer, and so it'll be interesting to see him. Let's go to the Blues. We're your hometown, your fan.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? There's maybe not much to be excited about if you look at the squad compared to maybe previous years.
Yeah. I was going to go with Peter Aki, just his return. Still have nightmares marking him at Massey. He bumped me off about 50 times in one game. Handful. I was stoked to see him go on and make a good career because I just thought I was getting tosed up by a fellow grassroots footy player. But he is quality, and I think his impact on this back line is going to be massive. In a midfield that they're going to need him for sure. But I went with Vi, the NZ7's winger. Like, this kid is a freak as well, and that makeup of that Blues backline is going to be interesting. No Rico, no Mark, like I touched on before. 2 strike options, assuming Zahn or Petafeta at the back, Bodie at 10, Caleb Clark on one wing. That leaves that other wing spot open. And for me, it's Vi, it's Kay Banks, it's Cole Forbes, all gunning for it. Off the top of my head, Forbes is probably number 1. Then Banks and Vi at a similar rankings, rate them both extremely highly, but Forbes, whenever he got a crack last year, was bloody good. But I think Vi almost has the biggest upside or the most uncertainty about him. Goes good at NPC level, quick, ticks every box you want in a winger.
Good high ball, good under the high ball.
Big body too, tall frame, and he's powerful, good work rate, got that sevens background where he's carved up. So I'm keen to see who makes that wing spot theirs, and I'm keen to see how he goes this preseason.
Last one, the Chiefs, Battle of the Bombays, first game. Where are you sitting? There's a lot of talent in that lineup.
this is the year the Chiefs have to actually win it, because they have had the best roster in Super Rugby for the last 3 or 4 years. And yes, there's been changes, but I feel like they always find quality to replace them. And this is a great example of that. Like, Shooter gone, but they pick up Kyron Talmoifalau, another guy who I think come October this year, when he's eligible to be an All Black, I think he could go on that India tour too, because he's got that X factor we need. And all the chat is that he's going to play fullback. And that is big boots to fill, but he is an electric talent. That back three, like if it's Leroy, Carter, and Emoni on the wings with Kyron at the back, that'll mean Etene Nanaisa-Toro misses out. What a luxury to have. I am so keen to see how he goes in this team. He's 100% made this move because he wants to be an All Black. He wants to be in that Chiefs team, so he stands out even more. And yeah, he's one of my favourite players to watch. Got the highlights, got the razzle. He'd go fucking good in an NRL team. I'd love to see him come to the Wars and play on the wing. But yeah, this for me, if it doesn't work out, you could probably push Leroy Carter to centre instead of Daniel Rona, and then have Tamoifalau on the wings with Etene at the back. So they've got options there. But yeah, I think that 15 jersey, I got Josh Jacob as well, D-Max. So
how do they fit that in?
All right, they could play around with that. What a problem to have, eh? Like, Josh Jacob, another one who could well be an All Black at the end of the year. Obviously, Richie Mo'unga's coming back, but we've seen him carve up now for Chiefs, for Bay of Plenty, for the All Blacks 15 for a long time, going to the Landers next year, so he'll want to win and make the most of this winning window as well. So, yeah, for me, it's Kyron Talmoifalau, and I'm hoping it's at fullback and he carves up.
Sounds good. What else is on your mind? There's more than enough going around.
Yeah, there is. I just wanted to cover off a couple quick ones. NFL, obviously Super Bowl fast approaching. Actually, watching that at Full-Time Sports Bar. I'll make sure I get you a ticket, mate, if you're free
good.
and available, so that we can rip into some tins. But get along if you're looking for somewhere to watch it. Super Bowl Monday. I don't reckon there's many better single sporting days than that. You just get to have some beers, eat some food, watch an entertaining game. Seahawks, look, they were great against the Rams. That one was a bit more of an exciting watch than that Patriots-Denver game.
Yeah.
I thought Patriots were going to smoke Denver. Once Bo Nix went out, I thought this was one-way traffic, and they almost cooked it, to be fair.
They would have won with Bo Nix.
Yeah, 100%. If Drake May couldn't run, then they were in a world of trouble as well. Patriots-Seahawks does have the potential to be a bit of a tough watch. I think it's two teams defensively very good. On offense, Seahawks probably have more points in them than the Patriots do. If the Patriots want to win that game, it's going to be 6-3, 10-7. And if the Seahawks can score over...
The 4-hour snore fest.
Literally, if the Seahawks can score over 14, then they've won that game, I reckon. But obviously more on that coming up shortly. I see Seahawks are $1.44 favourites heading in, so the bookies believe it's the way. I personally want the Patriots. They're a team I hate, but I like Drake May.
Yeah, he's good.
He's won me over, so I wouldn't mind seeing him get it and him pick up the MVP too. That would be sick. But yeah, just an interesting one coming up in a couple of weeks' time, and obviously it dominates at the moment because that's the main sport to watch on your Monday, which is bloody good. And also the UFC on the weekend. That Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje fight. Holy shit, like how that lasted and went the distance. Obviously, Paddy's whole thing is that Scousers don't get knocked out, and he proved the point there. There were multiple times where he should have been gone. But just to see those two stand and throw, like there's no Gaethje fight which is ever boring, and that was a bloody good watch. I love that fight, and I'm excited for this weekend too. In Sydney, UFC 325, I think it is this weekend in Sydney. Can't wait for that. Obviously, our guy, Dan Hooker in the mixer. We've got Cam Ralston in the mix as well. Tai Tuivasa returning. And then the main event, Volk up against Lopez in the rematch. But that Dan fight, to me, that's the main one. And that's the one I'm going to be paying that pay-per-view money to watch. Scary opponent too, up against Benoit Saint-Denis. This guy used to be in the French SAS, apparently. Retired that to chase a career in MMA. Nicknamed the God of War because he was literally in the French military. And I think he's had 16 wins, 5 by knockout, 11 by submission. He's not afraid to stand and bang, but he can choke you out too. Dan, off the back of a short turnaround, he'll be chasing a win in this one. And
He needs one.
And then line up a fight with Paddy Pimblett. Those two have been going at it. I don't know if you've seen the press conferences and things like that.
I've seen some clips in here and there.
Yeah, Dan was basically doing Dan Hooker things, and Paddy was doing Paddy things, and it's going to be a hard one if it happens for me because I love them both. up the mighty Liverpool, love a good Scouser, and obviously Dan Hangman's our guy. But yeah, I'm excited for that fight this weekend because I think it's going to deliver and Dan isn't just going to get out-wrestled. I think it's going to be an entertaining watch. But yeah, I think he's paying $3.60 at the moment. Hooker at the TAB. That would be a great one, head-to-head. I like Volk to get the win by decision, which I think is paying $2.90, and then Ralston to get the win at $1.30 head-to-head. That's on the undercard, our Kiwi lad's second UFC fight, so get around him. Multi that up, it gets you about $5.30 of the best, so that'll be my bets for this weekend. But good to see Tai Tuivasa back, good to see Junior Tuffer on the undercard, and just good to see some biffs in Sydney, eh? So close, I know a lot of fans heading over, and that main event of Volk up against Lopez is going to be a treat too, but up Dan Hooker, bro.
Yeah, it's a huge fight for him. I know that he's disappointed of how he's going at the moment, so it's an important fight, and obviously, like you said, Sydney, geez, that'd be a good weekend in Sydney for the UFC, and yeah, it is UFC 325. And did you see that a referee in the game did his ACL?
Oh,
prelim game.
Oh, you're kidding?
Referee blew his ACL during UFC 324 while officiating a prelim matchup. So
shit, got too into it, eh?
And he continued, finished the fight, moved on, which is an absolute champion because you see people when they do their ACL in sports.
Mate, that bloke is made of the right stuff. He's got no quit in him. You love to see it. I always buzz out, like you see those videos going around on Insta and shit of like guys that are real out of it after they've been knocked out and they like have a crack at the ref or something. Being a UFC official will be a fucking tough gig. It's not often that the fans like you either, so you have to deal with that element too.
Well, I wonder whether Joe Parker's talked to the boxing referee from that fight a couple of months back. That was insane. I wonder whether he's had that conversation yet.
Fuck, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, that still pisses me off. Quick shout out to Finn Allen too, getting it done with the Perth lads in insane form. Player of the tournament for me, most sixes ever. Whatever they put in that foot he had repaired, the bionic foot, shit as that worked. Now he's flying over to India. He was here 2 days ago just for a little overnight stopover. Tick some boxes, see the misso, try stay on the good side of things before the T20 World Cup. But yeah, we need him at the moment in that T20 format. I'm excited for that World Cup, and it's bloody good to see Finn knocking sixes at the moment.
Yeah, unreal. To win that competition, not only that, and then to have the most sixes in the competition ever is a huge milestone. But I need to see it at the Black Caps. We need to see it there because it's all well and good winning the BBL final, but then if we go to the T20 World Cup and get knocked out early, it's like, well, it goes out the window.
If we shit the bed, they're going to hear about it.
They are.
100%. I think that's us for this week, bro. Nice little first episode to ease back into it. Again, we'll have just the one next week, and then we'll probably roll 2 a week off the back of that once footy season is on the horizon. But good to be back in the mixer. Thanks again to the TAB and Michelob. Thanks to Henry. We'll catch you back next Thursday for another STS. Bloody good to be back in the mixer. Go well.